In this turbulent and impermanent life, we often encounter moments of pain, injustice, and hurt. Those moments easily make us feel tired, bored, and sometimes lose faith in life. However, there is a path that anyone who understands can find true peace and happiness. That is the path of tolerance. Tolerance is not only a noble virtue, but also an indispensable part to lead us into the garden of compassion, where happiness and serenity always await. Tolerance may not be an easy concept to understand or practice in modern society, where tension, conflict, and competition occur every day. However, when we truly understand the power of tolerance, we will realize that it is the key to open the door to happiness, helping us overcome brokenness, anger, and resentment, thereby living a freer, gentler, and more peaceful life. Forgiveness is a powerful act not only for others, but also for ourselves. While resentment can last forever and leave us feeling tired and lifeless, forgiveness can heal deep wounds in the soul. When we forgive, we not only forgive others, but also open the door to freeing ourselves from the torment of negative emotions. There was a friend of mine who went through a painful breakup. She was deeply hurt by her lover's betrayal, and for a long time she could not escape from anger and resentment. However, one day she decided to forgive, not because she wanted to please the other person, but because she understood that, by forgiving, she could heal herself. She opened her heart to forgiveness, and in her soul, a strange feeling of relief began to appear. Forgiveness is not only letting go of hatred, but also freeing yourself from pain. In Buddhism, we learn that suffering is a part of life. No one can avoid it. However, it is in times of suffering that we have the opportunity to look back at ourselves, to learn valuable lessons about life. When we learn to let go of things that cannot be changed, we will learn to live more calmly and peacefully. I remember one time when I was young, I had to face a big failure in my career. That failure made me feel like I was crushed, and for many days, I was sad and worried about the future. However, after thinking carefully, I realized that failure is just a part of life. The important thing is that I have to learn to stand up after falling and move on. Thanks to that, I have become much more mature and stronger. Suffering, instead of being something that made me fall, became an opportunity for me to find my true value. Love and compassion are two important virtues that we must learn and practice every day. Not all love has to be big and brilliant. Sometimes, love is small actions full of sincerity, such as a greeting, a comforting hug, or simply a gentle look. Compassion is the same. It is the ability to understand and sympathize with the pain of others without judgment. Once while traveling, I happened to meet an elderly woman. She was sitting by the roadside with tired eyes. When I asked her, she only said that she had just lost her husband and was living alone in an old house. Actually, she did not ask anything from me, but I tried to sit down and talk to her, listening to her confidences. It was in those moments that I clearly felt that compassion was what she needed most, not money or material things, but understanding, sharing, and unconditional love. Gratitude is a very important habit in life. When we are grateful for what we have, we not only feel happiness in the little things, but also easily see the beauty of life. Gratitude helps us live fully, without regretting the past and without fearing the future. I have a friend who often says thank you. Whether it is a small act like someone helping her hold something, or just asking how she is, she expresses her gratitude sincerely. Strangely, every time she says, "Thank you," I feel my soul lighter, as if I have received some positive energy. Gratitude is the way for us to appreciate what we have and live a fuller life. Living in harmony does not mean living passively or ignoring everything. It means accepting change and knowing how to let go of things that do not belong to you. Life is impermanent. Nothing lasts forever, and it is this acceptance that helps us find peace of mind. Once I met a teacher who had experienced many events in life, from the loss of a loved one to failures at work. But when asked about the secret to living peacefully, he just smiled and said, "Live according to fate. Accept what comes, let go of what goes." He lived like that throughout his life, and it was this way of living that helped him maintain peace, no matter how life changed. Life always contains challenges and difficulties, but it is in those difficulties that we learn valuable lessons about tolerance, love, and forgiveness. To live happily, we not only need to learn to love others, but also love ourselves, and most importantly, learn to let go of the pain and hatred in our hearts. When we do this, we will find peace in our own souls and live a gentle, peaceful life, no longer controlled by external factors. Life, whether painful or joyful, is a journey for us to grow and find true happiness. Life is never stable. It changes constantly, sometimes in the way we want, but also full of surprises and challenges. To live a peaceful life, it is important to learn to accept change without resistance. We cannot control everything, but we can control how we react to those changes. When we understand that change is natural, we will no longer feel afraid or worried, but on the contrary, we will take advantage of it as an opportunity to grow. A friend of mine used to be very worried about changes in his work and life. He worked in a company for 10 years and thought that was the only path for him. But when that company went bankrupt, he had to look for a new job. At first, he felt confused, not knowing what to do next. But then he realized that this change was not the end, but an opportunity to learn and challenge himself. He found a new job, even a job that he loved more, and since then, he has felt secure, no longer afraid of change. Self-awareness is the ability to recognize and act correctly without being reminded by anyone. It is an important quality that helps us live responsibly towards ourselves and society. Self-awareness is not easy, but it is one of the most important virtues that everyone should learn throughout their life. I remember one time I went with a group of friends to volunteer to help the poor. While we were helping them repair their house, a situation happened. A truck had overturned and blocked the road. At that time, everyone just stood there watching. No one took action, even though the situation needed to be resolved immediately. At that moment, one of the group members voluntarily came over and helped clean up and fix the truck. He didn't wait for anyone to say anything, but just acted as soon as he realized the problem. His actions made us feel ashamed for not doing anything, but at the same time admired him for his self-awareness and responsibility. Sacrifice is inevitable in every life. No one can achieve their dreams without sacrificing something. It could be time, effort, or precious things that we have spent many years building. But if we know how to sacrifice for others, we will receive invisible but extremely precious values, which are peace of mind and true happiness. I have a teacher who always teaches us that sacrifice is an indispensable part of the journey of life. He told the story of a mother who sacrificed everything for her children. Her mother gave everything to her children, from full meals to educating her children with boundless love. After many years, her children have all grown up and succeeded, and they realize that everything they have today is thanks to their mother's sacrifice. That story made me realize that sacrifice is not a loss, but giving with unconditional love, turning life lessons into action. Life is not short of profound lessons, but not everyone can practice them. Every lesson we learn from life is an opportunity to change ourselves, to live more fully. However, the important thing is not just to understand those lessons, but how to turn them into concrete actions in daily life. A friend of mine, after attending a course on self-awareness, decided to change the way he lived. He began to face difficulties at work and at home more calmly and patiently. What is special is that he did not just keep the lessons in mind, but actually applied them to daily actions. He began to listen more, help others without waiting for recognition, and face each challenge with a positive spirit. Thanks to that, he created a big change not only in his life, but also in his relationships with others. Life is a series of lessons that each of us must go through. From tolerance to compassion, from sacrifice to self-awareness, each lesson has great value in helping us grow and live peacefully. Always remember that the challenges that life brings are not things to be afraid of, but opportunities for us to learn, grow, and change. Don't let life tire you out with unnecessary problems. Learn to love, be tolerant, and know how to let go to live a gentle, peaceful life. Happiness is not a goal, but the result of a meaningful life with an open heart and a free spirit. Life is an unpredictable journey. Life does not always go as we expect. There are times when we have to face difficulties, losses, or changes that we cannot control. But what is important is how we accept and face those challenges. When we accept the uncertainty and impermanence of life, we will live more peacefully, not caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. I once met an old man who had gone through many ups and downs in his life, losing a loved one, failing at work, and having to start over many times. Every time I met him, I saw an optimistic smile on his face, as if he had no fear or sadness about what had happened. When I asked him about his secret to living, he said, "That's life, my son. Every day is a new opportunity, and the things we cannot change, we can only accept. Nothing is permanent, and it is change that makes life rich." That sentence changed the way I look at life. I learned that life does not always go according to plan, but it will always lead us to valuable lessons if we accept and learn to live with it. Forgiveness is one of the hardest lessons to learn, but also one of the most important lessons to live peacefully. Forgiveness is not allowing others to continue to hurt you, but freeing yourself from anger, resentment, and negative emotions. Forgiveness is the act of freeing your soul, the way we are no longer imprisoned by painful memories. Once I met a woman who lost her best friend. They used to be indispensable friends in each other's lives, but then a big conflict caused them to drift apart. She was very sad and could not forgive her friend. After a while, she realized that the pain she carried in her heart only made her more tired and unable to move forward. She decided to forgive her friend, not for them, but for herself. After forgiving, she felt like a burden had been lifted, and she finally found joy in life again, no longer weighed down by the past. Gratitude is not just words, but a practical action that shows appreciation for what you have. When we are grateful, we learn to look at life with freshness and love. This does not mean that we have to be satisfied with what we have, but rather learn to feel and appreciate what we have, no matter how little or much. When we are grateful, we will also become more humble and easily recognize the gifts that life brings. Once I happened to meet a man who was over 80 years old. He had lived a life full of ups and downs. Although he did not have much money or wealth, he always said that he felt extremely happy and grateful for his health, loving family, and good friends. He said, "My life has not always been smooth, but I am grateful for every day that I am alive, and I always appreciate what I have." His words made me feel very emotional and realized that gratitude is the source of happiness. When we are grateful, we will always find life meaningful and fulfilling, no matter what the circumstances are. We cannot change what happened in the past, but we can learn to live with the past without letting it dominate the present. When we let go of old wounds and do not let the past burden us, we will be able to live more freely and fully. Do not let past mistakes or hurts prevent you from moving forward. Only when you learn to let go can you open your heart to new opportunities and happiness that await you. A close friend of mine once went through a heartbreaking event. She was betrayed in a relationship. It was a deep wound that she could not easily forget. For a long time, she lived in anger and self-torment. But one day she realized that life cannot stop just because a wound has passed. She decided to forgive the other person, and more importantly, she forgave herself. After letting go of the past, she found peace in her heart and opened her heart to receive new good things. The present is a precious gift that we can enjoy right now. Instead of worrying about things that have not happened in the future or regretting the past, let's live fully with what we have. Every moment in life is an opportunity to learn, love, and experience. When we live in the present, we will no longer be afraid or skeptical about life, but instead, we will live peacefully and happily. I have a teacher who always teaches us that the present is everything. Every time he says this, I realize that I often live in worry and fear about things that have not yet come. But he always advises me, live each day as if it were your last gift. When you live fully in each moment, you will see that life becomes truly meaningful. After applying his teachings, I realize that only when we live in the present can we enjoy the good things that life brings, finding happiness in simplicity. Finally, I would like to conclude with a message. Happiness is not something far away or difficult to achieve. Happiness is simply knowing how to appreciate what you have, living with tolerance and love, and most importantly, learning to live in the present. Only when we know how to let go of unnecessary things, live honestly and love unconditionally, can we find peace and happiness in this life. Live gently, live for yourself and for those around you, and always remember that life, no matter how many challenges, is always a wonderful journey if we know how to look at it and live with gratitude. One of the factors that makes us always feel stressed and unable to comfortably live in the present is fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of not achieving goals. These fears often dominate our thoughts and actions, making us not dare to take steps, not dare to try new things. However, to be truly free, we must learn to face our fears and not let them hold us back. When we accept our fears and look them in the eye, we can overcome them. I have a friend who used to be very afraid of public speaking. Every time she had to stand in front of people, she felt like she lost her confidence and couldn't say anything properly. But after attending a presentation skills course, she realized that fear is a natural part of learning and growing. She began to face her fears, starting with small presentations in front of a group of friends, and gradually, she became more confident. Eventually, she was no longer afraid of standing in front of a crowd and could share her ideas naturally. Her story reminds me that fear is not something that cannot be overcome. When we dare to face our fears and accept them, we will be more free in life. Feel and enjoy the beauty of life. One of the important lessons I have learned in life is to stop and feel the beauty around you. Life is not just about work, money, and goals to achieve. Sometimes happiness comes from very small things, from simple moments like a peaceful morning, a smile from a loved one, or a sincere conversation. Take time to feel and enjoy those moments, because they are precious gifts that life gives us. Whenever I feel stressed and tired from work, I often go for a walk in the park near my house. In the afternoons, when the sunlight is bright and the wind blows gently, I feel peace in my heart. Once, I saw a family playing together. The laughter made me feel like time slowed down. They are simple, yet meaningful moments, and they remind me that life is not just about what we achieve, but also what we feel and enjoy. Inner peace is one of the most precious things each of us can find in life. When we find peace within ourselves, we are no longer controlled by the hustle and bustle of life or negative emotions. Inner peace helps us stay calm in the face of life's upheavals and allows us to live with a peaceful, free mind. I once met an elderly woman who had lived a life full of hardships and challenges. She lost her husband at a young age, raised her children alone, and experienced many events. However, she always appeared calm, never complaining or whining about life. I asked her how she managed to stay so calm. She smiled and said, "When life gave me pain, I learned to accept and let go. I know that nothing is permanent. Everything will pass. The important thing is to live with gratitude and keep peace in my soul." That answer made me think a lot about finding inner peace, because peace of mind is the key to living a peaceful and happy life. In this life, there is nothing more important than building and maintaining meaningful relationships. Relationships with family, friends, colleagues, and people around us are the foundation for us to feel love and connection in life. However, to maintain these relationships, we need sincerity, patience, and forgiveness. One of the most important relationships in my life is with my best friend. We have known each other since we were young and have gone through many ups and downs in life. However, there was a time when we lost contact with each other because of a big misunderstanding. I was very sad and felt lost, but after thinking for a while, I realized that if I wanted this relationship to last and be sustainable, I needed to take the initiative to make up and forgive. I called her, and we had a frank conversation. We forgave each other and continued to maintain this friendship. Our story taught me that any relationship needs sincerity, understanding, and forgiveness to be sustainable. Life is a meaningful journey. Life is a journey of continuous learning and growth. Every lesson we learn in life, whether it is about tolerance, love, or letting go, is an important step to help us grow and live a meaningful life. We cannot avoid difficulties and challenges, but if we know how to face and learn from them, we will become stronger and happier. Live each day with tolerance, a loving heart, and a peaceful mind. Only when you are true to yourself can you find true peace in this life.